Hi and good day and welcome to Arts to Tryon Studio. I'm Ellie Tryon. Today I want to welcome you to this edition of Drawing Basics, which is going to be today the ellipticals. So we're going back to a point of view, and it's only one point of view, and that's what you're looking at when you're looking at an elliptical. What is an elliptical? An elliptical is a circle. I'm going to pick up this orange that I have here. If I hold the orange this way, you can see it's a circle. When it's all together, it's one big orb, made a circle with shadows will make it an orb. But if I turn it ever so slightly, you can see that there's an elliptical there. And the more you turn it to, you see parts of the bottom and part of the top. It depends on how much you're looking down onto the surface. But as you turn it this way and you're looking past it, you see the elliptical. And if it's at eye level, it becomes like a straight line. So that's what we're going to be looking at as ellipticals. So I'm going to use my charcoal pencil here. Is this a charcoal pencil? No, this is a carbon pencil. And it's always nice to have a piece of sandpaper right on the side so you can sharpen the point. Nice sharp point there. Okay, so my point of view for this, let me to hold this straight, is I'm going to just draw a nice straight line here. I don't need to have a whole big horizon line here because I just have one. And I'm going to draw an elliptical. And I'm going to make a nice big fat thing here. And I'm drawing my lines that are going to my point of view. This is point of view. This is where I'm looking at, and I'm going to be looking down on the circle a little bit, but not totally down. So if I'm looking this way, I see this much. I'm going to make a narrow one. So it means I have to find the center point that be the widest part of this object. So by doing this and this, by drawing a X in that square that's now going off, I find the center. And that's the center. That's going to be the widest part of this object. So if I'm drawing like a silo and I'm looking down on it, it's going to be coming from here, straight down. And this will be the bottom of that. So again, I can make, and that'll be the bottom part of it. So I'll start here and here. Here, and if this is almost a ½ an inch, I'm going to make it 3/4 of an inch, this being the widest part. Down here, this would probably be, let's make it 1 inch. That would be here, it would end here. This would be the front part of the can, or the silo right here. This would be the back part. And finding the center, finding making sure I've got that can or silo centered. There's the center right there. It centers up a little higher, so it's right there. So it's going to end, got to make it a little wider here. That's where it's got to be, right there. And I'm going to worry just about the front part of it. I'm not going to draw the other part, but here is the thing. This is the center from the middle, and I'm going to draw to that center over here. Then I bring it around to the center here. So I push that to make it straight, make it a nice elliptical, here to here. and around, so that you can see now that this is a nice elliptical for that, okay? And that means that this here, since this is the front part, I've got to draw here to here. I'm only going to, because you can't see through the can, or you can't see through it. So there it is. So that you can see that things move in a nice elliptical fashion. You can now make things look like they're literally, if it's a circle, that it is, you know, a round object, tube, that it can sit flat for you. Let's try another one, a little wider rim. Looking down more on it, okay? So there's my point of view right here. I'm going to make this about 4 inches on either side. And I'm just going to make myself a little tiny guidelines here. So I can stay even. Here, and this will be where I am looking down. There's that part, and this is the inside. This is the inside of it, so that when I draw the I now know where the middle of all this is, across there. And what if I'm going to do is shorter, say it's going to be, this is going to be the top part of this, and this is going to be the bottom of the container. It's right there. So what happens when you do this? Okay, so first off, I draw from here around, make my turn, come around to the front. Do the same thing on this side, and come around to the front. So I now have a nice elliptical that looks like it's sitting flat. And this is the can it's sitting on, and it's a deep can. So this here is here, here to here, here to here. So what I'm trying to do is find out where that center is. There it is, right there, to this. And what I'm doing is now I can go on the inside. I'm not just, and doing this. And when I come around here, I can take it right around to this, like that. This is the inside. It's an open container. And here's the outside. So you can see the inside. That is one of the other things you can do. So the more you see on the inside, you know, what can you see? Or if it's got a lid, what do you see? These are the ellipticals, and the farther they get away from you, you can do a bunch of them going off in the distance. And of course, when they're right at your point of view, do the one more point right at the point of view, You don't have to worry about anything. It's straight. It is literally straight unless it's a little above. And this is a case where it would look like this. You would see the top, and then the bottom would be here. This is when the point of view is running through this. And this would be your view of that. You'd have that type thing. So things that are above. So what I'd like you to do is do your ellipticals by different points of view. What's happened when it's above? And it's the same thing above as it is below. I'm going to just do this freehand here. And this is the bottom I'm going to see. And it's the same principle as the other. And it's the bottom. This is the bottom I'm seeing of the can. And I can draw up. And this would be going up a little higher. So here we go. The bottom. The bottom. So I want you to do above your point of view, at your point of view, below your point of view. That makes it very important for the practice part of it. And also, just like I've asked you to do from the others, is to start off with your warm-up by doing your pull lines across your paper. And that would be horizontal, vertical, and diagonal each way. Also your arcs, because it's going to improve your making of circles and ellipticals. Going to help those. And then, of course, making your squares. And I have to look at this. Squares. And your circles. And, of course, if you want to make a perfect circle, you can play with your rulers, play with, any, tools that you have, including a protractor, and they do make perfect circles for you. But if you're going to do a circle freehand, try to think about ways that you can improve doing that, because it's all about the illusion of it being a good circle. The same thing with these ellipticals. You want the illusion that it is laying flat and it's in space. That's what we're working on. So practice all of those, your pull lines, your arcs, your shapes, making them into three-dimensional using 1-point and 2-point perspective. And then we are going to start with, then you'll add now this week, ellipticals, making ellipticals. That's circles that are now going off into space, and how to use a 1-point perspective, basically point of view, because you're looking at that area and it's going off into one part of the space, and pulling it out to that and making your square that you can make that elliptical work for you. That it's in a particular format. How much of the elliptical are you looking at? And that's the important part of this, so that when you are looking at something that is round and it's off in the distance, no matter what it is, you can draw the elliptical and you will be more confident about what you're doing and while you're drawing it. So that's my lesson for today. Practice. And I will see you again next week, where we'll be going and talking about composition. Because before we can go into actually drawing pictures, you have to understand about composition. So next week will be about composition. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you next week.